Hello, and welcome to a special edition of We're Not Wizards, which is, well, as we mentioned in the last episode, we're starting a few specials, and this one is the Friends of the Show special, and it's going to be titled The Man Who Soulsed the World. Now, I know why, and you will know why, because with me is the rather wonderful, the rather fantastic, the auburn-haired warrior that is Paddy Stardust. Hey Paddy, how are you?
Hi, thanks for the nice introduction. You really big me up to be more than I actually am. Just a crap 30-something who likes to stay indoors.
No. I mean, we're here for an important reason, and
we are.
that is to talk about the wonders and the phantasmagorical thing that is board games.
I'm so excited.
I'm so excited as well, but we're going to keep the normal format of the show. So if you've been listening on before, it's going to be the same old stuff, possibly the same old jokes, definitely the same old format that you're used to. It's just that I've decided, well, Colin wants a night off, and when Colin wants a night off, Colin gets a night off. So there was only one person I thought could fill the void tonight, and it is your good self. So as we know, the reason that we do this is because there are quite simply not enough podcasts about board games. and as we all know, there are also not enough podcasts that are just done by two chaps.
just two pasty white gentlemen.
Just two potential people with the same DNA grouping coming in.
Well, my hair is ginger, so mine is slightly different. So there's your diversity. Have that up your diversity pipe.
Well, there you go. That's that's what we want. But as always, one of the things we're going to intermingle. So, Twin Humanities, there's usually a beverage that's been brought in.
There is.
What are you drinking tonight, Mr. Paddy?
What I've done, I've brought out a very special mug.
Yes.
The mug I am holding is a mug. If you've ever listened to my show, you will know it's a famous mug that I use. It is my Mr. T mug. Now, Mr. T, it's a black mug with the words Mr. T, but the T is not the letter T; it's the word T. Amusingly, it's also surrounded by bullet holes, and it's in a very army font, like a sprayed-on army font.
Does the handle have kind of medallions on it as well? Because I've seen this mug. Not your mug, but it has 3 kind of medallions on the handle.
Do you know, it's funny you asked that, because yes, it does. And I can place my hand inside of the cup, and it looks like I've got lots of rings on. But
it looks like your signet ring extraordinaire, man.
And there is a design flaw, because your hand does get a little warm. Especially if the tea is quite fresh. You put your hand in, it's like, ha, look, I missed it. Ow, 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 why, ow. And then you have to put the tea back down again.
Yeah, but if you're really, really tough, then you would just see through that pain and just punch through it using your tea burning hand of glory.
Eat a Snickers and punch through a wall.
I'm obviously aware that we are lacking, because we are lacking a CJ and we're lacking a Colin. But tonight I've got myself a nice little traditional Italian intense roast.
Ooh. How intense on a scale of 1 to professional wrestling?
It's potentially a Kurt Angle.
Oh, okay.
But there was a choice. They had the choice of either going for the silver box or the gold box.
Okay.
So I went for the gold one because it had Intensio.
Well, that's good.
On it.
That's good because Kurt Angle is a gold medal winner at the Olympics.
He is a professional athlete, and there's rumours that he's coming back.
I know, right? I'm so
excited. I know.
He doesn't suck.
Well, not that I've heard, but it could be true. But we don't know. It's like we're getting past this already. We're just totally going off at a tangent, which is good, which is all fine. I'm looking at the show notes here, right? And it's full of filth. Because you just can't help yourself.
Look, okay, I'll say this to people who are listening as I said it to you. If you give me access to a Google Doc, I will write naughty words on it.
And you've done that, and you've also highlighted some stuff in pink.
Yes.
Which is good.
A delightful innuendo that made me laugh.
Yes, well, I had to bring. I knew if I put that innuendo in, I knew you'd jump it on it. But you've not only jumped on it, you've highlighted it and you've made it like puce.
You've handled me. What you've done is you've handed me a tray, and you've said "Vol au vent, sir," and I'm like, oh, "Don't mind if I do. Thank you very much."
And I even laid out the prawn ones for you as well.
Oh, tasty!
Such a special man. Taste the prawns. Taste them. Anyway, for those who don't know Paddy, and if you don't, you really, really should. What is wrong with you? We have given Twin Humanities a lot of love and a lot of shout-outs on the show.
And it's much appreciated, thank you.
Well, well, you've done the same for us, so we thought, share the love. Share the love. Share the love and I know. Hugs.
Love you.
Board games.
Yeah.
Because we got to talk about board games. What do you remember? What the first board game that you played? Obviously everybody's touched on Monopoly and maybe Mousetrap, but do you remember the first one you thought, this was a bit different? This was,
Oh, definitely. I've written a few notes here actually.
What?
Well,
CJ's going to be annoyed.
I know. I've written more notes than I have for the last 6 months of our own show. I feel a bit of a traitor. When I go on other shows, I try and look smart because I'm not smart on mine, and I have to pretend to be smart. I did that for Sound of Play. I wrote 4 solid pages of notes.
I heard that.
Yeah.
I also heard the disdain in CJ's voice when you told him you wrote 4 pages. He went into.
He was so upset.
He went a little bit high pitched. You did what?
Notes. Board games. So I remember. Obviously, everyone has the obvious ones. The Monopolies of this world.
Yeah.
The earliest one I can remember that we still play. We've got a very ancient copy of Frustration. Which is Ludo with a poppy thing in the middle.
Yes.
And
it was one of those things you would play it for so long, and your parents were really glad that they bought you it, because it meant you played together with your brother or your sister. And
you
then
couldn't lose the dice.
No, that was it.
It was in a little special shell.
But after about playing it for like 3 hours in an afternoon, my dad, I think, once ceremoniously stormed in because all he heard was pop, pop, pop. Pop. And went, will you stop playing that game that's encouraging social interaction and teamwork between two of you and fight instead? I was like, all right.
Just hit each other like normal children.
Exactly. But what's your frustration, man?
I remember the popping. I remember the bit when you get to the end where everyone's just trying to roll the number they need, so it's just pop, 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 pop. Yeah. Give me a 3. Give me a 3. Give me a 3. We still play that. We've got the same version of it that we had when I was like 6 or 7 maybe when we got it, and it's the same when it comes out at Christmases and New Year's and stuff. My mum's dubbed it Killer Frustration because my family gets quite competitive when we play board games, and we'll get to this later. We'll touch on this later.
Yeah.
Whenever a game, we play a lot of Buzz together and we play a lot of other games. We get incredibly competitive and words are said.
Is it fighting words?
Oh, fighting words, incredibly offensive words. My mother implied that my sister was a rather unclean streetwalker, in other words than I'm going to say.
Oh my goodness.
That was a lovely Christmas.
That would have made the turkey awkward.
It was Laura was round for the first Christmas at their house, and she literally almost fell off her chair laughing. It was...
Well, no wonder.
It was perfect. And we still bring it out because it's still like a tradition. Like, we have to get a game of Frustration in. Even if we all hate each other by the end, we have to do it.
Well, I mean, board games are always... Monopoly is well known for bringing out the most, the most Gordon Gekko in all of us.
Oh, of course. Of course.
In terms of doing that. But Frustration, was there anything else that you can...
Oh, God. There are 2 more that I can remember standing out.
Yeah.
First one being the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles board game. One of them, anyway. It had a really big board. You went around through the sewers. And you went to different areas in the city, fighting different... There was like an enemy deck in each place, and you had to build up your turtle cards and kind of play them to beat the number of the enemies. So you'd find like a Bebop or a Rocksteady.
Was it a proper deck building?
No. It was definitely for children's, and you basically just collected like turtle cards, and you spent those to kind of to beat the ones. It would just get a lot of numbers and beat the big number.
Ah, right, okay.
But there were like pizza slices that were there for some reason, and manholes as well. There are all sorts of strange mechanics about the manholes. I don't really remember a lot of it, but I do remember collecting pizza slices and having to make a full pizza.
You have to track this down.
I'm going to have to look it down.
Have a look at it, see if you can find it on eBay. It's either going to be... These older board games are either like going for like about $5 or they go for a stupidly ridiculous amount of money.
Yeah, absolutely. Going for a $5 is my other one that I remember from my children, which I did buy again recently. It's a game called Tower of Terror. It's a very physical sort of board game. You're basically just trying to get you've got two kind of big fat men who are knights. And you've got a board with lots of like holes. It's a big plastic board. It's a 3D board, and it's got lots of plastic holes. So there's an outside track and an inside track, and you've got to get around the outside track, then move into the inside track, go around that as well, and then you have to jump on a particular space in the middle, which has the titular Tower of Terror on it, and you get your guy on that space, and it pops the tower out, and the tower falls over, and you win.
See, that sounds just that's could be modern game kind of.
But,
That's going to give me one game Dark Souls.
But it's basically Dark Souls the game. You have to be careful because you're fat man. As you're moving around, every now and again, if you roll a 6, you have to swing the barrel man. Now attached to the tower is a man in a barrel. And if you roll a 6, you have to grab the man in the barrel and swing him around the tower. And any man that gets knocked over has to go back to the start.
And have you been playing this recently? Have you started playing it yet?
I played it last year, actually. We had a quick go and we couldn't remember the rules because there were no rules. But the interesting tweak is, so there is a little bit of strategy because your big fat mans, they have a little a round bit on the base, but they also have a little round bit on their belt buckle. So as you're going around, you can roll 2 dice to move them if they're stood up, or if you want, you can lay them on their front, which makes them more stable, but they can only move 1 dice at a time.
Oh, right, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, and it makes them more likely to stand up to being hit by the barrel man. So when you're kind of approaching the tower, you want to sort of start hunkering down and really sort of dig in, or maybe you want to roll just 2 dice and just gun for it and hope that the tower misses you.
You're fat rolling then.
Fat rolling, essentially.
You're fat rolling.
Yeah, you lay down, you poise up. Which on the outside,
it's not Dark Souls 3 then, because there's obviously poison that.
Yeah, poise doesn't work in this. Well, it depends how hard you swing the barrel man, really.
Yeah.
Particularly vicious barrel throws can knock over anything with enough gusto. But it was a fun little game, and we kind of just about worked the rules out as we were playing it because it's been a long time. I remember playing it when I was about 10. And this didn't come with any rules, and the box was absolutely mashed. Like the top was all holes, and there was pen marks all over it, and they'd drawn moustaches on the adorable children on the front.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
So where did you get this then? Where
eBay.
Did you find it? You got it off eBay.
I just got reminded of it somewhere. I can't remember where it was. You just sort of get thinking, that was a fun game, wasn't it? I think it was over Christmas when we were playing Frustration, just chatting about like old games we used to have, and it came up, and I was like, I really want to play that again. Ooh, and just found a copy for $5. I'm like, well, sure.
You can't go wrong with that, can you?
Yeah,
I mean, it's a $5. It's absolutely nothing.
It was an enjoyable hour of games. You know, you had an enjoyable hour with it, and then we moved on to something more complicated.
Will you go back again then?
Probably after a beer, maybe. It seems like a very like Larry sort of game. You're like,
It'll be one of those get home at 2:00 in the morning. It's like, what should we play? Tower of Terror.
Get the tower.
Get the tower out.
Hashtag get the tower.
Get the tower out. And the board game.
Oh.
No, stop. No, can't.
Sauce.
Shouldn't. Well, no, sauce.
Saucy, innit?
Saucy.
Oh.
It's lovely. Oh, tower. Right. Oh dear, it's going to be one of those hours, people. Just stay with us. We'll bash through.
We'll get through. Just stick with it.
So obviously that's your younger days, but I mean, me, I had a gap where I stopped playing board games. I was playing Hero Quest and Space Crusade, and then I had a gap of maybe about 15 years,
Very similar
if not
to me.
Longer.
Same here.
And then I went back into them again. So you said that's similar to you. So what was it? What kind of brought you back in again?
Well, it was actually we met a couple of friends that Laura used to work with. My wife worked at Game for a while. And she worked with a couple of guys that worked there. And after that game had closed because it shut down, it was one of the sort of Debenhams ones.
Oh right, okay.
And once that shut down, we sort of kept in contact with these two guys, Mark and Mac.
Right. Hello, Mark and Mac.
Hi, Mark and Mac. They'll be listening. Hi.
Hello.
And
I hope so.
yeah, they invited us round to their flat for an evening of games shortly afterwards. And they introduced us to, I'm pretty sure it was Catan. I'm almost certain it was Catan because, like you say, I had a good sort of 10, 15 years of not really bothering with them. I was video games mostly. That was just what I did. And at uni, it was Smash Brothers was the thing that came out, or like the SmackDown games. Like we never really board gamed at uni.
No.
But going back into this,
mine was Super Mario Kart at uni.
yeah, we double dashed. Yep.
I had original SNES version. Super Mario Kart. Ooh. That's how old I am. I'm very old. It's also that or Super Bomberman.
Oh, okay.
On the Super Nintendo.
Yeah, man. I love that game.
Yeah, with
I'm rubbish at it. I'm terrible at it, but it's great.
You used to set up. What you used to do is you used to go up and you used to set up your bombs to the maximum. And used to set up the explosion levels to the maximum. And then you used to just see how many seconds you would last. And usually it was about 2, but it was so much fun. Especially if you'd had too much to drink. You know.
I think fun lubricant is what that's called.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, absolutely.
The grease that gets you on the way to having fun again. But we were introduced to Catan. Was what we were kind of eased into. And obviously our first game was bad. We were very bad at the Catan. We weren't good at the Catan. But by game number 2, we kind of got the hang of it, you know. And once you get over the wood for sheep, it's a really sort of cool, deep game. I'm sure people listening will know this because it's Catan. And they had the big 6-player expansion as well, so we'd play with that as well with a few of us, and sort of got into sort of regular game nights almost with them. So every couple of weeks we'd go around and play some more stuff.
So you mastered the Catan?
I wouldn't say mastered, but I've got all right at it.
All right.
I can win some of the time. Oddly enough, my dad seems to be very good at Catan these days, which is bizarre to me. He can beat me every time, and I don't understand how.
It's the wisdom of age that brings things like that.
Or just putting things down and getting lucky.
Yeah, well, there is that as well, obviously.
You've not met my dad. Trust me, it's not skill.
It's just jammy.
He's very jammy. He'll put his house next to a number 2 on the board, and then all that will roll is 2 for the next 5 minutes. You're like, yep, give me all the wheat, please. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And you're sitting there with nothing in your hand, and it's like, oh, I've got too many cards. Like, yeah. Good work. My nice prime number 6 hasn't come up once. Oh.
And you think that's a good thing at the time.
Yeah, you think, oh, a number 6, yeah, I'll get that all the time. And then you just sit there barren, no cards, can't develop.
Yeah, I'm stuck. I'm in a wasteland. I'm in Fallout 4.
It literally Fallout 4, but there are no resources. The world is empty. The game has crashed. But we moved from Catan onto a couple of other games. They introduced a couple what I call kind of proper games when I try and explain it to people. We tried one called Robo Rally.
I have heard of Robo Rally, which
Robo Rally
is building up parts in order to race kind of robots. Is that kind of correct, or am I just talking crap?
No. Well. Very broadly, you're broadly right. Basically, it's sort of like Robot Wars, a bit. You've got a board, a board with squares all over it, and it represents a factory floor. And basically, you're playing an AI that's got bored and has built robots to kind of battle out in this kind of area to see which robot's the best. And the way the game works is you have to guide your robot through a series of checkpoints. So there's checkpoints on the map, and you kind of move through them, and whoever gets the number 3 or 4 or whatever first wins.
All right. Okay.
The way you accomplish that, it's one of those everybody goes at once kind of games. So you have in front of you like a program sheet with spaces for 5 cards. So you get dealt out a number of cards equal to how much damage you've got left. So you start with 10. And if you take damage, you lose cards, so you kind of get less options as you play. And you have to choose what order you're going to do your cards. So you might have a move forward 2, a turn left, a reverse, and then a 180-degree card. And you play them down in the order you want. And then when everyone's put their cards down, you will then take turns, kind of turn over card number 1, and everyone in a certain order goes, right, move card number 1. So you move, you turn, you slide, and you sort of try and nudge each other out the way and remember your left from your right, which turns out is a lot harder than you would think. Because when you've put 5 cards down and the first card is a turn left, and you turn your thing left and you go, hang on a minute, that wasn't left.
I'm about to smash into something and I'm about to take some more damage.
Yeah, the classic turn left and look straight at the hole of death. Like, hang on, wait, I know what cards I've got left. Ooh. It's one of those kind of games where you know what you've done. But because you're sort of trying to get to the same points, you're kind of bashing and shunting each other. And there's rules for like who goes first when that happens. So you might get knocked off of your path by 1 square and have it completely ruin what you were trying to do. Because the board isn't static, it's full of like conveyor belts and cogs that will turn your robot by 90 degrees one way or the other, or like pushers that will shove you out of the way, lasers as well, which are fun. So before you know it, you're on the wrong side of the board, not quite sure where to go, and nearly broken. It's really fun, and it supports up to 8 players as well. I've played one 8-player game, and it was madness.
I've seen it kicking about a couple of times. It's one of these games that appears. There's a Facebook group that I'm a member of, which is kind of like people that want to sell board games. And I think it's one of these games that appears, and you get kind of like RoboRally selling for, and I don't know how much, it's like £50-60, or it might be more, it might be less, but it's older copies. So they say the thing I've heard about RoboRally is some of the older editions are better than some of the newer ones.
Well, we bought ours new the other day. Offer. Yeah, we bought ours new because we used to play his copy, Mark's copy, and we bought our own copy a few months ago, and it only cost us about 25-30 quid. It wasn't expensive at all.
That's okay then.
Yeah. All new, boxed up, and all the bits that I remember from Mark's copy are all still in there. You get like four or five like double-sided boards, and you can put the boards together to make kind of big, long arenas as well. Or there's ones that are just an entire like floor that's just full of conveyor belts. So you really
that would have been madness.
It's like a whirlpool of conveyor belts. It's really, really hard to deal with, but very satisfying when you do. But yeah, it's really fun. Really, really fun, and really easy to pick up. Like, you can pick it up in like 10 minutes. You work out what you're doing, and then it's just like, right, game on now. Just
let the carnage commence, basically.
Exactly.
Now, as I say, I've seen it whenever it's been up for sale, the older editions, and if they're selling for a bit more money, then I've seen people going, I'll have that, and then there's about 3 or 4 people afterwards going, damn it, missed it, damn it, missed it.
No, it's really fun. Like, it's the reason it's popular, because it is great, and it's the one we used to go to. Like, it's like RoboRally. It was the game that came out when we weren't sure what to play. But that moved on. We moved on from RoboRally. We moved on to a lovely game called Space Alert.
Yes, I've heard of this.
Oh my god, Space Alert is the best. Now, Space Alert falls very nicely into a genre of game, video and board, that I call crap in space. So, you know, like, have you played the video game FTL?
Of course.
Yeah, or there's a game called Tharsis that's come out recently, which is basically a board game about getting to Mars and trying not to die. You just roll dice to do everything. It's really good. Yeah. But this is a similar crappy stuff in space game. You're on a ship that's basically made out of tin foil, like lowest bidder sort of deal. Like, everything is the cheapest thing it can be. And you have a mission to get into an unexplored zone of space, survive for 10 minutes, and get out alive. Now, the way this works is that you have like a board that's made of... The ship is made of just 6 spaces. There's like a left, a right, like a middle, a left, and a right, and an up and a down. That's it. And you, in a similar way to RoboRally, you program your guy. So in the first section, you'll have 3 spaces, and you'll go, right, I'm going to move to the red zone, I'm going to move down, and then I'm going to charge the reactor to put energy in so someone else can fire the gun. Like, it's a 5-player co-op game. Like, you have to work together.
Oh, this is the one where everybody has a different kind of role, and then you need to do certain actions in order to allow other people to carry out their actions.
Exactly.
Is that
yeah.
right?
You have to coordinate between you. Now, the kicker is, because it's you have to survive for 10 minutes. The way this manifests is a CD, and you put the CD on, and you press play, and it's like, beginning mission.
And you get the sound effects and stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And then every kind of minute or two, it'll go, incoming threat, zone, white, time, 2. And that's the kind of point on your kind of track of cards, is when it will turn up. So it might be an asteroid, or an alien, or a giant cloud of alien plasma that turns up. And you're encouraged to kind of throw bits on the board to try and work out what you're doing as you're doing. So, like, right, now you go there. Now, when you've gone there, is there power in that? No, you need to go down and power the reactor. I need to then fire the laser, and I think we kill that. There's moments where I think one of the mechanics is, in the very early game, that you have to have someone up in the command deck sometime in the first fade has to wiggle the mouse on the computer monitor, or it goes into screensaver mode and all the doors stop working. It's amazing.
That is just...
And it knocks everyone back by a full turn as well, so whatever you thought you were doing, you're not doing. It's amazing. And as the ship gets damaged, like, you'll kind of put damage tokens on areas of the ship. That's how you take damage. And if a ship section takes 6 points of damage, so if all of its tokens are on, the ship explodes and you all fail. We've only made it through the simulation of a real mission. We've never done a full mission, and even that was very hard.
Yeah, okay.
That's not with any internal threats, because, like, there are internal threats. There's like killer robots that can turn up, and malfunctioning equipment on the inside, or you can find bombs in the ship. But we've never even tried that, because we can barely manage the stuff on the outside of the ship. It's a great game. It's really physical as well. Lots of like cubes of energy and laser bits to throw about the place, and
so you can move stuff around and things like that as well.
Yeah, and that moment when you're looking at the board and you know you can't do it, and you're looking around and no one else has realised yet, and you know it's futile because you've seen what people have done. You think there's no energy left.
We're not going to get out of this alive.
They fired that laser, but that's not going to work because it's too far away, and we're doomed. And you just sit there and try and make a good fist of it. And then once you've gone all that, you then reset the whole board, and then you go through your cards one by one and go, right, turn one, right, you did that, I did that, and you physically do on the board what you said you were going to do, and work out if it worked or not.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert, it didn't.
So you have to go back again and then kind of.
If you thought you were clever, you weren't clever. Like.
So was it easy to get kind of like groups of people together then? I mean, was it easy to have like kind of like 5-player games in these things then?
Yeah, definitely. Like, because there was myself, there was Laura used to go along as well. There was Mark and Mac always there, and they had another couple of people that would turn up. A lad called Gwyn, a lad called Adam used to come along. Someone I used to work with that I used to bring along as well. So there was always at least 4 or 5 of us around, and he had lots of games to play, like with numerous player counts. So we always had something fun to try. And we experimented a lot of things, and we actually ended up moving on to Pathfinder.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen, because Pathfinder is, you're starting to get into your D&D type thing. So, I mean, obviously I've known people that are playing, well, at the club where I go to.
Yeah.
People play like D&D games. They play like, they've got the Pathfinder going. They've played Frostgrave as well, which is a bit of a skirmish game.
That
so there's
does
a lot
sound
of different
great.
Kinda,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, is Pathfinder like a decent... I mean, did you play it for a long time? Did you get through campaigns? I mean, how did that kind of work out?
We got through like a couple of arcs of a campaign. We got to about level 4 or 5, I think. We didn't get super far because people moved away. Mark moved off to London. Max now moved off to Newcastle. And I'm in little old Portsmouth at the bottom of the world. So, yeah, that kind of... unfortunately, it had to stop after about 6 months to a year or so. We kind of played every other week or so. We didn't do it every single week, but we had, like, fun with it. And our GM, it was his first time GMing, I think, as well. So we really sort of took our time. We didn't know quite what we were doing. So, but it was fun, though. Really enjoyed Pathfinder. Had a really, like, good time with it. Our GM let us do some silly stuff. I played initially a bard in our sort of trial campaign, and then we did a real like proper sort of series start, and I turned that into a sorcerer. So unfortunately I was a wizard for the... I know.
I think we're potentially going to have to stop things right there.
Podcast over.
You're just like that. It's not kind of, we're not wizards, except I was a wizard once.
Yeah.
This isn't like it's not like Wizards Anonymous where we kind of used to be a wizard.
We're not wizards except when we were.
Exactly.
Well, it was a very bardic kind of wizard. I used the spell singer bloodline, which is lots of kind of like audible kind of spells and sort of noises and sounds and singing and performance.
Well, I suppose we can let you off on that because it was more of a singer.
It was a bard. It was a bard.
Then yeah, of course it was.
Yeah, it was a very special. It was a very specialised bard.
Listen, we'll not talk about it again. We'll just kind of.
We'll just move on.
We'll just breeze through it and we'll just kind of move on.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, I mean, I've never played a role-playing game. I'm going to put my hands up. It's a joke with Colin, and Colin is always saying, you've never ever played a role-playing game in your life. It's something that I've potentially thought about, but you know me, I'm a bit more of a kind of a dungeony, crawlery type person. I don't know. I would always think I would probably end up putting on a stupid voice, kind of overacting, making a fool of myself.
Yeah.
But there's probably no difference there than what I'm kind of doing right now.
To be fair, putting on a stupid voice and overacting is half the fun.
Yeah.
Like, my character was kind of, very kind of, no. Like, he was very sort of well-to-do in his voice. He was a halfling, and he was very sort of, yeah.
Hairy toes.
And then because actually, funny you mentioned silly voices, we tried Gamma World as well briefly. And I rolled, what was it I got? I got like a feline man, but I was also psychic, so I could stab people with my brain.
What?
And his name, I called him Raul, and I insisted on speaking with a very Spanish accent the entire game.
Did you have a hat?
He didn't have a hat. He was bald to make the psychicness better, but he did have a poncho that was made out of a mat, like a floor rug.
Did you ever dress up?
Unfortunately, not. No.
Would you have? Because you sound like the type of guy that maybe if they were given the opportunity. Because I know what you're like. You're a big bit in your fashion souls. You like your clothes.
When we played Pathfinder and I was a halfling, I did try and sit on the floor so I was shorter than everyone.
See, that's the type of role player that you would welcome in any game. See, that's commitment.
That is committing.
That's just not. I'm not taking my shoes off, or I'm using my own dice.
I would commit to people. Like there was a certain section where we would in our trial campaign where this is where my character had left and has never left this scenario. He was investigating a room with some screaming mushrooms in it. The mushrooms were like sonic, so you couldn't hear anything. I was inside the room. My party was outside. They got annoyed that I kept setting the mushrooms off, so they shut the doors.
So you just got left in the room.
No, it gets better. I had taken off, like my character had taken off his shirt at that point and wrapped it around his head to stop the mushrooms, like hurting his ears so much. He then set them on fire as well to try and get rid of them.
Oh my goodness.
My party had blocked the door from the outside with a sword because they were sick of the noise. They got into combat outside, but I insisted on role-playing that I hadn't heard them. So I was walking around exploring the room and looking in the cupboards and investigating drawers while they were outside stabbing goblins. And I got XP bonus for that. He said you get points for role-playing. And then because I couldn't get out of the room, I kind of sat in the middle and my character lit up his pipe and sat there in a room filling with smoke, with his shirt wrapped around his head, smoking a pipe, choking to death slowly. And that's where we stopped. And that's where he died.
In perpetual.
I've been there for 3 years. He's been there for 3 years now.
My word.
It was great. That's why I kind of was a bit bummed out when our group sort of disbanded, because I was really sort of enjoying it. Like, it was fun being a bit creative.
Yeah, I mean, with that, that sounds like it's been something that's occurred a little while ago now. I mean, has that kind of put a bit of a kibosh on the stuff that you have played then, or you have been able to play? I mean,
we've not done anything like D&D style. Not even close. Like, I've got a couple of people interested, but it means someone's got a GM, and we're all busy these days, aren't we? It's a big job.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the biggest issues that you have, one of the biggest issues we have at the club, is people being able to commit, because you can't. If you get 4 people involved in a game, and one person can't make it that week, you can't play. So it involves kind of like military precision planning. It's like,
it happened to us once or twice as well. Yeah,
I've seen people fall out over it. I've seen some rather interesting kind of posts on Facebook about people saying, "Well, listen, I'm going to have to kind of abandon this because not enough people are actually playing."
Yeah.
But I mean, with one of the things me and Colin talk about is that board gaming itself seems to be going through almost like a bit of a golden age again. And I guess the question for you is, have you seen anything recently that you've thought, I'd like to get my hands on this. This looks like a decent kind of looking game. I mean, obviously we have a section of the show which is called, get them off the shelf. But is there anything that you've maybe seen in a store shelf or something that you'd like to get off? You'd like to get off. Filth.
Ooh.
Hello.
Hello,
little box of goodness. Would you like to get off the shelf for me? Just absolute filth. You're doing this to me.
I love it.
I managed 7 episodes now without resorting to swearing, without resorting to innuendo.
Let's lay on the filth.
I've been doing this for like 35 minutes now, and it's just like, oh, hello, how you doing?
It's glorious.
It's fantastic.
I've got 2 parts to this answer.
Right.
I've got games that
You have written down notes, haven't you? This is the thing. You can imagine there's going to be so many words in the car when you talk to CG again.
Yeah. The car that we don't drive because we live about 150 miles apart.
It's the metaphorical car of twin humanities.
I have 2 parts to this. I have ones because I've got a few that I've actually sought out for various reasons, and I've got a few that I'm interested in. I'll do the ones that I sought out first, and I'll get to them.
Yeah, please. Yeah.
Based on an interest in Pathfinder,
yes.
There's a card game, an adventure card game of Pathfinder as well, which I've invested in. It cost about 40 quid. I bought it with some Christmas money I had left over, and it's not role playing at all. But you do it's like deck building. You build a character and you kind of build up their deck with weapons and spells and armors, and then you
what's it called? Is it?
It's Pathfinder Adventure Card Game, which is a very very florid description. I know. It's the Wrath of the Rune Lords is the box that I picked up, and you get enough in there to do like a test scenario, and then like the first 6 parts of the campaign, and then there's like I think 6 more boxes you can buy with another 6 bits in each. So you kind of play through about 36 different scenarios for the whole game.
Well, that sounds pretty good.
Yeah,
as long as you level up. As long as they're not overly expensive, of course.
I don't think they're too bad. Like nothing a board game person would shrug at, definitely.
Yeah. But
you pick up, you kind of build a character. Like I'm playing it currently. I'm actually playing it by myself because I played it with Laura, and the characters we picked didn't really gel for a newbie. So I'm playing myself with a fighter and a cleric, with both hands on the table, so I can see both hands. I'm kind of playing it one by one.
And then, how do you build the event? Is the adventure based on cards that you draw? Then what happens with scenarios and stuff like that?
Yeah, you've got like your main, like you've got your campaign, and then in that you've got your adventure, and in that you've got your scenarios, and each one kind of lists what's next. And the scenario will list a number of areas, so like the town square, the apothecary, the woods, the bridge, and then on those cards you'll then have a list of like here's the stuff that's here. So you'll put out 3 weapons, 2 armors, 4 monsters, a chest maybe. And then you'll also get on the scenario card like a list of like here's the villain for this one, and here's his henchman. So you take the villain and you take the amount of henchmen for the amount of rooms you've got, shuffle them up and shuffle them into the deck. So you're basically trying to find and shut down the villain. And you do that by working your way through the deck. So you've got I think 30 turns to get through and find the villain, which you track with a pile of cards on one side. And if you can find the villain, you can then fight him. And if you beat him, the villain might maybe escape to a different area if other areas are still open. So you can kind of close areas by kind of going through the deck or meeting certain conditions. You can turn them over and make them permanently dead. So you've got to kind of burn through your deck and try and find the villain and lock them out from going anywhere. And if you can isolate them and kill them, you win.
That is really cool. And does it play well as a single player? Because it's strangely enough, is it one thing that board games seem to struggle a little bit with is by making kind of single player campaigns, and it always seems to be like a stretch goal on a lot of campaigns.
I actually think it does, because you can play it with one character if you want. Like if you pick like a rogue that's good on their own, you can play. But like playing with 2 characters in front of you is fine. Like it's not hard to deal with, and you've got sort of different options for each character so they can help each other in various ways as well. So you're not trying to micromanage 2 whole people and keep track of what's going on. Like it's all out in front of you. Like the cards tell you what they do, and after a while you start to really just get a feeling for, right, there's a blessing, gonna play that, gonna play my armor, and I'm fine. Like you get a theory for what they do, and like different characters have different abilities. Like the cleric can kind of burn a divine card, but you can kind of heal someone. Like you could give them a few cards back. Yeah, your deck is your deck is your hit points essentially. If your deck runs out, you're dead.
Yeah.
And the fighter can use weapons, but instead of like discarding them, he can just put them back at the bottom of his deck and use them again. Yeah. And there's a bunch of different ones like that. But it really balances, I think, quite well for 2 players. And you can play it up to 5 with the standard box, and you can expand it to 6 with the character add-on deck, which puts a few more cards in to balance it out. And it gets a bit harder the more people you have, because there's more kind of locations to deal with. But I think it plays generally quite well. The basic set is about 40 quid. And in that box is enough space to put all of the expansions for that kind of version of it.
Storage is so important when they're,
It's a smart box. It's a very smart box.
I've ranted a lot about storage in the past, but I'm not going to rant anymore. But it was great. It's always good.
I remember that rant. It was a good rant.
It was a necessary rant. It was a required rant, but we are now going to be playing the game, so yes.
The other thing that I've been picking up recently is, because me and my wife both work in charity shops, you see a lot of kind of cool old stuff come in, and Laura's shop is our vintage shop, and they had a games night, like a geek night, so all the shops were sending all their geek stuff down, so we were looking at going, look at that, we've got a lovely Transformers poster on the wall now from the 80s, which is lovely. We found a couple of old games in those piles that have been really fun. We found a Star Trek The Next Generation video board game.
Yeah.
So like Atmosphere?
Yeah, I remember
Atmosphere.
It's
got a video and someone
yelled
the
Emperor out of Star Wars on it.
Yeah.
It was kind of like that.
You're banished.
You move next.
Banished to the black hole.
You're about to die.
He had the best voice. The way he said, "You're banished to the black hole."
You and your father are now mine. Kind of thing.
Well, this is like that. The Star Trek one is like that, but you've got a Klingon who's taken over the Enterprise and he's trying to like race it and blow it up so to start a war off. So you've got to run around the Enterprise trying to kind of get access to the bridge to shut him down. It's really physical. So you've got like proper standy kind of crewmates, and you can be sort of any gender you want. You can be a boy or a girl. You can have a left-handed or a right-handed phaser if you wish. Everybody wears a Star Trek badge.
Would you need a left-handed phaser?
Yeah, if you're left-handed.
Would you?
Laura's very happy about that. You never get left-handed options in these games, so she could be a purple left-handed woman and be totally fine.
Good.
Yeah, and you all wear like it comes with badges you have to wear. And when the Klingon, whose name is Kavok, comes on the screen, he goes, "Answer me!" And you all have to put your hand on your badge and go, "Yes, Captain Kavok!" And if you don't do it, the other players can steal cards from you because you're endangering the safety of the crew.
Oh, okay.
So it encourages you to kind of to buy in and to kind of interact with the video.
This is a CD-ROM type thing, isn't it? This isn't
VHS.
an actual. It's not. Is it VHS?
It's a VHS. We had to get it copied to DVD so we could play it.
Oh, whoa!
It was amazing, and you get if you go to Stasis, which is like the equivalent of the black hole. Yes. But it's a little plastic tube that you put over your character, so you can't move. It's so good.
Oh my goodness!
But it was one of the funniest 45 minutes of gaming I've ever had. It was delightful.
Oh my goodness.
Just proper hilarity, buying into it, shouting back like, "I can't hear you, maggot!" "Yes, Captain Kavok!" And every now and again he'll give you a nickname like, "You, the player who is the lowest rank, I will call you Boosh." And there's a deck of cards.
Etc. Etc.
Thank you, Laura. Laura's just given me a note that the videos for that and Atmosphere, you can actually find them on YouTube.
Really?
So if you can't get a VHS player, you can still, if you find a copy, buy it because you can queue it up on YouTube and play it on YouTube.
That's like, it'd be like 1980s news. And sorry, I've just had an announcement. Thank you, Laura. Atmosphere. Atmosphere. I'm just holding it
here.
She
literally handed me a note.
Atmosphere is actually available on YouTube. That is. I'll repeat that. It's just news come in hot off the press. Well, hot off from the Laura. Is that Atmosphere is available on YouTube. Thank you. Now back to your regularly scheduled program.
Thanks, Tom.
Thanks, Tim.
But I also found, not only that, I found a copy of a game called Dungeonquest as well.
No.
Basically complete, missing maybe a couple of tiles, one card, because I sat there on Board Game Geek with a list, and it has the game, and it has the Catacombs expansion, and it has a Heroes expansion. Some of the expansion stuff is more missing. There's only about 2 playing pieces in the box, but that doesn't matter because you can use Lego people. Dungeon Quest, where you make, like, you build your dungeon as you go in and try and get to a dragon, steal treasure, and get out. The manual has a wonderful line. Apparently, from extensive playtesting, the game has a 15% survival rating.
That's not very good.
It's not, but I thought I was doing quite well because on my very first game, I got to the dragon, because you can totally play it by yourself as well. Like, it's got solo play or multiplayer.
There's another game, was it Mage Knight, I think you can also play, which looks complicated as it, and I've always been tempted to pick it up, but it seems to go for a pretty penny.
I think people have likened this one to that. They're in a similar sort of thing.
There's a revised edition by Fantasy Flight or Final Fantasy Flight Games.
Interesting. Because
Dungeon
Dungeon Quest was really fun, but because because I was really confident. So my second game was my favourite because I put down the very first tile, and it was a bottomless hole, and I was using the barbarian who's not very agile. So I walk onto literally square one of the game, and I roll my agility, and I fail, and I fall in a hole, and I die. And that was my entire second game. I didn't even make it through one turn.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Yeah, and I kind of understood what it meant there. But we see all this sort of stuff come through, like these really cool old RPG games. I found an old Shadowrun book in a box the other day.
Shadowrun was just... Shadowrun's one of these games that even if you're not into role-playing games, if you're interested in the scene at all, you would have heard of Shadowrun because it was there was the video games as well. There's the computer games as well that came out as well, so people have heard of them.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Dungeon Quest Revised Edition. It goes just now for about $60.
I did not pay that much money.
No, and it's revised, and it says Dungeonquest Revised Edition is a fast-paced game of deadly dungeon exploration and looting for 1 to 4 players. Each player takes on the role of a hero, sets a lot blah 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 blah. Included in the box is a normal Fantasy Flight trench.
What?
It's a trench. You've not heard of the Fantasy Flight trench?
No, what's that?
The Fantasy Flight trench is the way that Fantasy Flight pack their games. They basically have a game box, but they have they have 2 raised sides, and then they have a small trench in the middle that you're meant to fit everything in.
Oh, I know what you mean. Those are bad.
Those are not good.
Because the cardboard on the side always folds.
It just doesn't work at all.
It ends up in a pile.
Yes, it does. You end up crushing all your stuff. But that's beside the point. That is beside the point. Is there, obviously, is there games that you anything else that you really would covet if you could say, well, I want to play this game, and you could get anybody to play with?
Yeah. And I've got 3, actually.
You've got 3?
I've got 3. They're they're 3, but they're all the similar sort of like idea of, 4 to 6 players play a really long game. The 3 that I covet, and I know I haven't got the people to play it, or like I haven't got the people that are that into board games enough to play with me at the moment. It's Arkham Horror, that Game of Thrones game, and that Battlestar Galactica game. I want to play all of those. They look brilliant.
Colin's played Battlestar Galactica, and it is very much it's a hidden double agent game.
Yeah,
and he says it's really good. It's like, who's the Cylon? Who's the Cylon?
We watched the whole series a while ago, and like we got so into it. I'm like, I need to play a game of this because this is really entertaining and interesting. And like, I think
it was the first thing I think it was the first television series I binged on, because I went out and I bought it all, and that was just before the days of Netflix, where you could just say, I want to watch this, and then you just put it on and you just sat for 3 days and watched the whole thing. When you had to binge, this is Battlestar Galactica in the old days, you had to binge on it, you had to go out and buy it, the whole lot. But it wasn't that bad.
And then hook it up to your home gramophone to play it on the wall.
That's it. And have them interacting like puppets and stuff like that. Yes.
Hire a 3-piece band to play the music.
I'm not that old. It wasn't even on VHS. It was DVD.
Oh.
Blu-ray hadn't been invented. It was like it had interactive features and stuff. It was like, oh, this is a bit saucy. And it was one of those things where the DVDs weren't big enough, so the box set came on about 5 discs, and you got about 2.5 episodes a disc.
God,
so
yeah.
it could have got halfway through. Or if I want to really show my age, I remember when you used to get double-sided DVDs.
Oh,
you
God.
didn't even used to get the ones that were printed. You used to have to play the DVD and then halfway through it go, turn over for the second part of the film. It was like going to the pictures when they used to have an interval, and of course, obviously, they didn't last that long because the DVD was like, it was playable on both sides, so it ended up like getting totally scratched.
Yeah.
So all it took was somebody taking it out the wrong way of the DVD player, and you would wreck the disc.
Oh.
So it wasn't very good. It wasn't
I
very
remember
good at all.
those. Yeah.
Battlestar Galactica, yes, it's very, very good. Arkham Horror, I believe, is very good, but takes an awful long time to play.
And I would give it that time. I would totally give it a day to get into it, but like Laura doesn't want to. Definitely, she does not want to.
I think it's a long setup time. I think there's games that take an awful lot of time to set up, and then once you get into it, it takes an awful lot of time for you to learn the rules, and it's only on the second or third playthrough. And playing it the first time is such a barrier for these games, because they last so long. They last an awful long time.
Christ, they do.
You know.
But I'm in for that, but like just no one that I know locally is, and that's a bummer.
Well, I think we do an appeal for Paddy.
Are you in Portsmouth and want to play Arkham Horror? Please, at Paddy Stardust.
Yes.
If you know how to play
Drop
it, even
him a
better.
tweet. if you have a copy of Arkham Horror available, or Battlestar Galactica, and would like to play either, then the only reason I'm playing board games is because of the group that we go to, and we're kind of lucky that the group's been established for years. Seriously, it's called Dwarf.
Okay.
It's the Dunfermline Warhammer and Role Playing Fellowship.
That's clever.
That is clever. But they must have, you imagine how long they went, okay, we've got a D, we've got the W, we've got the A, we've got the R, we've got the F. what we call each you bunch of Fs.
Rawwood. That's it. Forward.
But yeah, so that's what they call. I know there's a couple of guys from Dwarf that kind of listen to the show as well. So hello, guys.
Hi, dwarves.
Hi, dwarves.
Actually,
short people.
That's interesting. If you can fill for 30 seconds, I will be right back.
Okay.
I'm very interested. 1 second. Hang on. Running.
Okay, here we go. So here we have Mr. Paddy Stardust, who's out the trap, he's running, he's hurtling away, he's going for the first fence, it's a good clear one. He's got it out, he's got Captain CJ on the left-hand side, he's got the twin humanities on the right, and he's coming up to the second fence. Oh, it's a bit sticky, but it's clear, and he's going over, and he's coming up, he's about a head of length, he's ahead, he's got CJ in the background, twin humanities, he's got Dark Souls 3, he's got Lack of Poise in the fourth place, and he's coming back, and here he is, back again, and it's a full win for Mr. Paddy Stardust.
Oh, thank you very much.
Second, CJ, third, twin humanities, fourth, Dark Souls 3, fifth, Lack of Poise.
I bought a copy of Tabletop Gaming Magazine from Future Press this week.
Which has taken the world by storm.
I really like it.
It's now in Tesco's.
It's in Tesco's.
I think that was because I obviously follow all things tabletop, and I'm a member of the Facebook page, and they says, guys, we're in Tesco's.
So
we're in Tesco's.
I'm trying because there's a big list of like clubs in the background, and I wasn't sure if I'd seen yours or not. There you are.
We are there
at the Del Farquharson Community Leisure Centre.
Farquharson.
I'm sorry.
It's just like Shrek.
Farquhar.
Farquhar. Lord Farquhar.
You're in a magazine. That's you. That is.
That's not me. I'm just a member.
You're part of it. That's good enough.
I'm kind of definitely go, yeah. So there we go. It is in the back of the magazine.
But again, I remember I picked this one up. I had a picture of the turtles on the front, and it said exclusive Frostgrave interview. And after all your talk about Frostgrave, I'm like, yeah, I'm in.
Yeah, well, see, the thing with Frostgrave was because there wasn't that many people playing it, it ended up falling to the wayside because Colin was winning so much. Colin is just, I'm going to win everything, and he does. And that's just one of the things I've had to accept. But he kept winning at Frostgrave that his character, him and another guy's character, got so over-leveled that we're just playing, unless they were playing each other, if they're playing the other guys, I think they were just wiping them out, so they had to stop it. I think it's one of these things that needs, it's like all these things, when you're running a campaign, it needs about 8 players. You know, it needs about 8 players and turn it into a proper league. Yeah.
Oh, you couldn't just play it like with a couple of you got to play a proper...
I think it's what happens is you go off against a skirmish game.
Yeah.
And the thing with the skirmish game is, in order to make it interesting and building up experience, because when you win a battle, you kind of gain experience and you gain spells and you gain treasure. So as you go on, you become more and more powerful. Mm-hmm. So unless you've got everybody kind of playing at the same time, then you get people that can fall down by the wayside. And it's kind of like a newbie in Dark Souls going up against somebody who's been currently sitting on New Game +7 or something like that. You know, they get the floor wiped with them.
Oh, so it's like walking through the first area and getting invaded.
Yeah, pretty much.
By Satan.
by the man who's, if it's Dark Souls 1, he's gone all the way down to the catacombs, got himself hit up with some green titanite, and is carrying himself a +7 fire axe or something like that. It's kind of that kind of business. Do you know what the Dark Souls people are going to be going? He has no idea what he's talking about. How dare he sully his talk with Dark Souls?
We've got to get the crossover in somehow, though, haven't we?
Well, you've got to mention it. You know,
we haven't talked about it for about a month now, so you know.
Well, the other thing that I was checking over the episode for sound quality after the debacle that we had previous in the week, and I thought, do you know what? We didn't mention Dead of Winter, and it's the first episode we haven't mentioned it, so I'm going to mention it now. Dead of Winter. Have you ever played it?
I've not. I've seen it. It's one of those big box ones. It's got like a very fractured, like broken pane of glass front, isn't it? Yes. Yeah, it looks good. It
is very, very good because it's very, very human. It's kind of like if Shaun of the Dead was a rom-com with zombies, then Dead of Winter is a survival game with zombies.
Okay.
You know, they're not the direct threat all the time. The people and the actual tasks that you have to get can be the direct threat as well. So
okay.
It's a good game.
Oh, sounds good. But like the barrier for entry on these is like it's 40-50 quid, and
yeah, I know.
if you haven't got a group, it's hard to justify when you haven't got a group.
I know how often you're gonna play it. You know, obviously things that can be slightly cheaper are the ones that are on things that you can find on Kickstarter.
Ooh, yeah.
Now, one of the things we obviously talk about in the show is giving it a kick. Now, are you a person that partakes in the old Kickstarter now and again?
Well, I didn't think that I partook in many board game Kickstarters, but then I looked through my list and I've got 4.
Right, okay.
I don't usually kickstart many things, only because I've been burned a couple of times. Not massively, but enough that the thing that came out, I got all excited, and it comes out, I'm like, oh, I didn't.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And a couple of games I've kickstarted that have just turned out a bit rubbish. And games that I've ended up purchasing on other platforms as well. Like, I mean, the perfect one was the Double Fine one, the very first big game one. Like, it was excited to be part of it, but then I've purchased it on the PS4 as well. So yeah,
you're kind of giving the money as well.
Exactly.
Again,
I'm at the point where I'd rather see things come out, especially with video games. Like, I'd rather see it come out, get the reviews, then give them my money, because my time is precious, and I spent so much time in The Witcher, for instance. Can I justify dropping money on a random RPG that might not be good?
I've just started The Witcher.
Oh, you've got so much to look forward to.
I know.
Oh, it's literally the greatest. I think it might be in my top 10 of ever.
I started it for you. Because of you. Not for you, but because of you. Because of all your chat. Because the continual chat. And it's not just you. It's flipping Jeremy Greer as well has been going on about it on Dark City.
Yeah.
You as well going on about it. I don't know who else has been talking about it, but there seems to be a bit of a revival since the last DLC's been out.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this looks kind of tasty. And I jumped into it last night, and of course I had a code for not Blood and Wine, but the one before it, Hearthstone.
Hearts of Stone, yeah.
So that obviously popped up, and you get a completely different start screen.
Yeah.
He's no longer got the ravens there, and I went, okay, so I'll give that a shot.
And then the new one does that as well. Blood and Wine does that too.
I've heard
so
really.
good.
Well, I saw your pictures on Twitter.
It's
saying, look at this.
It's like there's DLC, and then there's, hey, look, here's another game we're going to strap on the side of the game we've already made. Enjoy.
It's like Dying Light. Dying Light did that.
Yeah,
recently.
Same thing. Yeah. Like here's a game. But yeah, back on Kickstarter, like I don't do many of them, but the ones I do, I tend to like be really, really into. The first board game one I did was actually when we were still playing D&D. I actually kickstarted a D&D style book called Timewatch.
All right, okay.
It's made by designed by a guy called Kevin Culp. From what are they called? What are they called? I can't remember what the actual company's called he works for now.
That's fine.
They make Gumshoe games, which is kind of like D&D, but it's more about finding clues rather than kind of combat and stuff. So it wants you to use your social skills and to kind of investigate and to draw conclusions. But this one has you playing a group of time travel dudes, and you have a time machine and you can use it. And essentially you're trying to like unruin history. So you'll get something come up like, there's a Mongol horde running through France. Work out why, and you have to go back and work out, kind of trace the things back, and like the campaigns.
Almost like a kind of finding the butterfly effect thing, kind of find the thing that first set everything off.
Absolutely. But like when you get into combat and things, you can actually kind of like use something called paradox prevention to kind of like let yourself do weird time stuff. So for example, you're like, I need a gun to shoot that guy. I'm going to remember to go back and put the gun that I need inside that cupboard.
Oh, right.
And if you've not looked in the cupboard, then it's much easier. If you've already looked in the cupboard, then you have to make a much harder check to make it work because you're rattling time.
It's Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure
the
police station.
It is literally Bill and Ted. Like you can absolutely do that, and the rules seem really flexible. Like it allows you to play any kind of scenario. Like you can adapt the rules to Quantum Leap if you want. Kind of jump into a body that's got skills. Yeah, man. Or you could do like the Bill and Ted thing, or you can do it Doctor Who style, or you can even do it Terminator style if you really want. Like it seems really adaptable, and the actual book is finally at the printers. It's been a long time coming, but it's going to be a giant, great book.
So have you got it yet, or is it still on its way?
I've got the PDF. The PDFs came out about 3 days ago.
All right.
And it's massive and it's gorgeous. Of course, the problem is that since I kickstarted it, my group has disbanded, so I don't have anyone to play it with.
But then, with something like that, can't you do something over Skype then?
Very possibly, yeah. I'm looking at those options. Like Roll20 is a good way of doing that as well. But I really want to just do it because it looks like it might be a massive, massive laugh. And for your character creation, you can just pick anyone from any historical time, and that's who you can be. You can be a caveman if you so feel like it.
That would be me on Saturday mornings when I'm half asleep then.
Yay! But you're assumed to be hyper intelligent. Like, you're assumed to be intelligent and very competent at everything. So if you want to do a thing, you can do it. Like, if you're looking for a clue and it needs to use, like, I don't know, bluff. Like, if you're trying to bluff someone, you bluff them. Like, there's no kind of you fail the bluff. But you can spend points to make you bluff them better. So you can kind of like go, oh yeah, I work here, and walk in. Or you can go, I'm the boss, let me in.
Oh, so it's kind of like you can do like skill checks basically, and you
can
increase what you're doing. Yeah.
You can spend points to kind of do cool things, and it encourages you to spend the points to do the cool stuff, just to make cool time stuff happen.
And have you backed anything else recently?
Yeah, recently. I've done that. There was a certain board game that came up. You might have heard of it. It was the Dark Souls one. That came up, and I didn't know whether to mention the obvious elephant in the obvious room. Oh no, let's talk about it. It's over there, and it's got teeth. I saw I was waiting for it to come up, and it turned up, and I think I was in within an hour of it going up. I was like, well,
I think everyone was in an hour.
Yeah, it's like, going up. Of course I'm giving this 80 quid. Of course I'm giving this 80 quid. Look at it. I just want the toys. And a lot of people are buying it just because they want the damn figures.
Well, that's what me and Colin have said. I mean, Colin does not do Dark Souls. I mean, he's aware of its existence, but he hasn't grabbed it. But I remember, I mean, me and spoke about this in Dark Insight as well, about Jeremy is getting it for the figures. He's not a board gamer, he's got nobody to play with, and there's a lot of people that are going to get it. What do you think of the price though? I mean, obviously there's the 80 quid, but I think we worked it out, it was going to be £300 or something if you wanted everything that was going to be part of it.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the way the main Kickstarter was handled was really, really good. Like, for your pledge, your 80 quid, you get every stretch goal. No mucking around, no Kickstarter exclusives, none of that guff that usually turns me off this sort of thing. So I was initially quite down on it when it was announced, like, oh god, it's going to be like, pay an extra £80 for the Super Souls pack.
I had my reservations about it because there was a couple of expansions. I think Dark Root was one of the expansions.
Yeah.
And the fear of Kickstarter exclusive is always one of these things that will always guarantee to make me think twice or even put me off backing something, quite simply because you're going into retail with this. Why would you not let somebody who can't jump on board just now miss out on something
that looks really cool? But I love that everything they've made is going to be accessible at retail, which is great.
Yeah, that's the other thing.
Yeah, you haven't got to buy it all now. If you want to, I mean, go for it. You don't let me stop you. And I think when you do add up all the expansions they've done, like, I mean, it does come to a lot of money, but they sailed through so many stretch goals. So damn many of them stretch goals. They hit almost 4 mil.
Joke, wasn't it? It was kind of like just, press the button, let it go, and then ding, 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 ding. It's like, oh, okay, 3 million then.
That first update, we're like, yeah, we know we've passed about 20 stretch goals. Give us some time. We're going to tell you what they are in a minute.
We'll have to come back to you. We have to invent new ones.
Give us an hour.
About it. I think what'll come out is what I've seen with these ones, and the only thing that can let this down now is the logistics side of things, because there's a big difference delivering a 30-piece board game with 50 components to it, then delivering what looks like to be a 60-piece board game with another 100 components on it on top of that as well. And that's the only thing that can let it down. But they seem to be kind of up on letting people know what's going on.
Yeah, they're really like talkative. Like, have you seen that the extra packs that we've unlocked, like the various, like the hero packs and the new boss expansions, they appear to be coming as separate boxes.
Yes,
which is great, because I've heard about your tribulations with not things fitting in a box. As a man who likes his shelves to look tidy, like, I'm up for this as well.
It's like the Phantom Menace, mate. It still hurts.
Oh. Do you need a hug?
I'm not afraid of saying yes. I'd be quite happy to do that.
Open your heart.
Open your mind.
But I love that the options they gave you for like the expansions, like the boss expansions, like they're not mucking about, are they? Like the gaping dragon is like 12 to 15 centimeters tall. That is a joke. That's not huge. A miniature. That's a model.
That isn't. No, I think that's what it is. I think what they're expecting is that there is a massive market out here for people who will buy the stuff just for having the stuff and aren't board gamers. And in many ways, there's an argument to be had to say, well, how many people are going to end up board gamers off the back of this? Because I still know a lot of video game guys who are like, nah, I've played a little bit of board games, but it's just not my thing. But I can see that a lot of people kind of ending up going, well, I've dropped this amount of money on a board game, might as well play it, might as well give it a shot.
And it appears to support one person too, so you can play it single player if you really want to.
Yes, which is just, Dark Souls in a nutshell.
Yeah, so and the amount of stuff that they give you in that box now, like it's like almost, I think at retail, the amount of stuff we're getting from the Kickstarter, it's like £190 worth of stuff for our £80.
Yes.
At retail, and that is like, it's a joke. Like the value for money on it, it got better and better and better. I was initially a little bit wary of the 80 quid, and then it's like, oh wow, okay, I've got twice as many miniatures now. I've got a Pursuer miniature. Oh my god. Like,
I know. Can you imagine the kind of the phone went down when they signed that deal with Bandai Namco and From Software to produce that board game? You imagine it's like, because they would have went, okay, you've got the rights to do it. You imagine how, oh my goodness, what am I going to do? Because there's two sides of it. There's, oh wow, we got Dark Souls to do, and then there's, oh my goodness, we've got Dark Souls to do. If we mess this up, then we have to move planet. Let's face it, you can't go.
There's no amount of country. No amount of seppuku. No amount of seppuku can make up for that.
No, there's no country you can go to. Oh, we better go to Japan. No, you can't go there. Australia? No, you can't go there. You can't hide out in America, boys. You better try. Train to be an astronaut and get in that next International Space Station, but there'll probably be somebody up there going, alright, you're the guys that mucked up the Dark Souls board game.
But I suppose
very cold in space.
The thing they've got going for them though is that, like you say, like, a lot of people are buying it for just the miniatures. The game is the side, like the offshore on this one. It's like, I'm going to buy 80 quid for a load of miniatures. Yeah. And then think about it. Even if you don't want to do that, you've got the stuff there for like a Dark Souls D&D game if you really wanted to.
You'll get. Well, I mean, this is what I was going to say. You're going to end up with people kind of like making up their own rules. Give it within 6 months, if not now. There's going to be people that are going to thinking, this is the type of rules. So you want to play your own rule sets. We've come up with this rules because you know what the community is like. The community is going to come up with here's some additional rules, here's some alternative rule sets. If you want to play as this character, if you want to play as an SL, if you want to do a one bro character, you can do this. Though you can guarantee, because the community is very good at kind of supporting, And
they're mental.
Kickstarter is a good thing, but what is also a good thing is Twin Humanities.
Oh, is it?
It's a very.
You're too kind.
It's a very, very good. I mean, for those who aren't familiar with the show, and as I said at the beginning, if you aren't familiar with Twin Humanities, get out. This obviously, one of the things we do is we do shout outs, but obviously I'm not going to say, okay, listen to this podcast, listen to this podcast, listen to this podcast, listen to this podcast. Tell us a little bit about Twin Humanities, and also,
I'll sell myself.
The floor is yours.
I'll sell myself.
Is yours. Yeah.
Me and my cohort CJ, about 3 years ago now, started our little podcast called Twin Humanities. It wasn't called that then. It was chronicling my first adventures through Dark Souls because I'd never played it. I'd just finished Demon Souls. CJ was a big Dark Souls man. We sort of met on the Polygon forums.
Yeah.
And got chatting on there, and my friend Sean suggested, why don't you do a podcast? Why don't you record like your go through it? And I thought, that's not a bad idea, So me and CJ got chatting and we got something together. I played through Dark Souls 1 with his kind of like help and slight guidance and sort of chatting things through as we were going. And if you want to listen to someone do a bad job, on their first run, like not knowing what they were doing, like listen to the early shows, because I listen back and I'm ashamed of myself. Like I hear back and think, is that what I do that? Oh, jeezy Pete's. Like it's all fair enough mistakes, we all do them, but like I listen back now and think, man, I was dumb. I was really dumb back in the day. But we've
how many shows have you done now? Because you've not just got Twin Humanities.
Oh yeah. Well, that one's gone through. Twin Humanities has now gone through Dark Souls, Dark Souls 2, Bloodborne. We're in the middle of Dark Souls 3 at the moment as well.
Yeah.
We also recorded. Well, we did a small offshoot for a little while called Twin Destiny, where we talked about Destiny because we really like Destiny. We shoot the gun in space.
Are you going back to that? Because obviously the new Destiny expansion's coming out, so are we going to hear some more?
We might go back a little bit to the show. I don't know. We've left it for a while. I think we're just going to go and play it.
Yeah.
But there are no plans yet, but we'll see. We'll see how we go. But the other main show we do, the other big one, is called Oh the Humanities. And that's when we need to talk about things that aren't Dark Souls, even though we just talk about Dark Souls in that one as well.
You've got to bring it in, haven't you?
You can't stop yourself. It's really hard.
No.
And that's where we talk about other games, and more recently we've been getting more into talking about comics and mangas and animes, and CJ's very into his tokusatsu, which is your Kamen Rider and Super Sentai stuff.
And his Blue Arrow films as well.
Love
it. I've been really enjoying the chat on the kind of the Blue Arrow. Is it the Blue Arrow version of films? It is.
Yeah.
All that chat.
No, I think it's just Arrow. Sorry, it's Arrow. Yeah, it's Arrow.
So it is.
I was there. I should remember I was there.
I'll edit. Well, I should remember there because it's because I listen to it often enough. But yeah, yes. So it's I mean, O the Human. I mean, it's, I guess if you're not a Dark Souls fan, jump into O the Humanities. If you are a Dark Souls fan, listen to both of them because they're
Thanks.
It's pretty good stuff. It's good. No, it's
we chat about comics and TV shows and anything that kind of takes our fancy, and it appears we like almost the same stuff, but not quite. We like almost like he really likes his tokusatsu, which is like his Kamen Rider and his big sort of Japanese kind of live action TV shows, whereas I'm more into my wrestling, which is the sort of similar thing, which is big sort of silly fighting men, but in a different way. So we're almost into the same stuff.
One of them's fake and made up, and the other one's tokusatsu.
That's very right.
Yeah. On that note, if people are looking to search out and find you, and obviously play board games with you, where can they find you on Tinternets?
Well,
Mr.
my address
Stardust?
22. You can find me on the Twitter. Is the only place I really go anymore, because who uses Facebook anymore? Come on.
No.
It's a BNP notice board these days. I mean, come on.
Oh dear.
Sometimes they get married.
I know. I must. I heard that. Was it somebody had put up I don't know if it was Britain First or somebody had put up a poster of a British bulldog with a phone number underneath, and it said, Britain moving forward for Britain kind of thing, and somebody had encouraged people to phone up, and apparently they had to shut down the phone number, the mobile number that was on there, because they were getting so many phone calls with folks saying, "Found your dog, mate."
Oh, that's great. If you want to find me, not on Twitter, please, not on Facebook. Twitter, it's at Paddy Stardust, because of David Bowie.
Which is why we chose the title of the episode.
There you are.
The
and the
Man
podcast,
Who Souls the World.
The Man Who Souls the World. Thank you. That's clever. I like it. And our podcast, you can find us on @Twin Humanities. Humanities is a hard word to spell. I get it wrong on the RSS feed for the show all the time. There's 2 I's in it. That's the best place on us. You can find us on iTunes, and we've got our YouTube channel as well, where we put the podcast up there. And there's a few odd bits there too as well. We've got a few odd bits up.
That's pretty cool.
I made pizza once and cocktails. So
is that up there as well?
Oh yeah. I actually met someone, one of my Twitter friends. We met because he made that cocktail and had the 3rd worst hangover of his whole life because of them. And I felt incredibly proud.
Oh dear.
My mum loves it. I've got cooking up on YouTube. She's very proud.
Well, she will do, because she knows that she's raised a man who can look after himself and his wife which is always a good thing.
And make an absolute state of the kitchen.
I know. Listen, it has been pleasure speaking to you.
Pleasure's all been mine. This has been absolutely delightful. Thank you so much for inviting me on. This has been a long... Ever since you said I'm making a board game show, I was like, can I come on?
Yes, you
Please?
can. Yes, you can. And you were always on the list.
Oh,
always.
Thank you. Oh,
I know.
Love you.
You two. Go. Run off into the sunset together. But yeah, it's we again, for everyone else out there who's obviously invading in our little love fest now, this has been a kind of a one-off special for We're Not Wizards, called Friends of the Show. We are going to be having some more. Again, you probably know where to find us just now, but you can get us on Facebook, you can get us on Twitter, you can get us on Stitcher, you can get us on iTunes, you can get email. So if you search for anything We're Not Wizards, at We're Not Wizards on Facebook, at We're Not Wizards on...
If you find a wizard you've missed.
Yeah, basically, we're going to eradicate them all. But again, thanks again, Paddy, for joining us, and to everyone else, remember that we are many things, but we are not wizards. Good night.
Good night.
Bye. Oh, I've not done the theme tune.
Do it.
Okay. Good night, all you dungeon explorers. Good night, all you bard-like singers. Good night, may you all be rolling 20s. Good night.
That was delightful.